So I look like a schoolboy again, and that could only mean one thing. I'm filming some fun shit again. And today, this is an exciting day for me because I am inside of the facility that fascinated me for the last, probably 14, 15 years. Brewery Artist Lofts. This is a crazy community of artists located here in Lincoln Heights, having an incredible history. Art Walk takes place, so which means that lots of studios will be open, but I'll be honest with you, I will be looking at architecture, I will be looking at buildings more than art. There's lots of cool stuff to be seen over here, so let's dive into this. For me personally, one of the exciting things about this community is the fact that I got exposed to it many years ago when I just moved to the United States. I didn't really speak much English, so I was working in a moving company, and I remember moving somebody in one of these lofts and seeing those crazy, huge industrial elevators, thinking to myself, what the hell is this place? So that's what it is. And I'm very excited because I haven't been inside ever since, so probably over the last 14 years. Let's talk about location for a second. We are in Lincoln Heights, and that's the community that was one of the first suburbs of Los Angeles, dating back to about 1830. At the end of 19th century though, this place was known not as a suburb with residential properties, but as the place where lots of factories and warehouses were. Here in Lincoln Heights, at the end of 19th century, you could find lots of immigrants from Germany, Italy, Ireland. What could be a dream for people from Germany or Ireland? Of course, it's working at the beer factory. I'm only half joking because working at the beer factory over here was actually one of the best jobs in Los Angeles back in the day. The brewery over here started functioning around 1897, and several buildings were built out in the beginning of 20th century. Actually, one of the buildings that is seen from the freeway, that's the Edison electrical company power plant, which was built in 1903. Famous architect John Parkinson. From 1897, this place used to be known as a Los Angeles Brewing Company, or more commonly used, East Side Brewery. That's how the majority of people knew this place back in the day, early 20th century. Later on, it changed hands, but it remained a brewery all the way up to 1979. In 1948, this complex was purchased by Pabst Brewery. Same thing, same industry. Pabst Blue Ribbon beer, that's what the company was known for, and its huge 40-foot sign, which could be seen from the 5 freeway. Later on, at around 1970s, this place fell into disrepair, and due to the competition from the other companies, Pabst had to sell this place. An interesting fact about this place back in the day when it was East Side Brewery is that workers were allowed to have a 7-minute beer break every hour of work. You can get pretty messed up if you are on a shift for 8 hours. I mean, imagine drinking beer for 7 minutes every hour and then coming back to work. Fun times. I don't know how, as a society, we've moved away from that. I don't know how unions and workers that used to work over here were unionized pretty early at the beginning of 20th century, actually. I don't know how, as a society, we've moved away from this beautiful practice. If anybody that watches this video works in a beer factory, please let us know, because everybody would love to know. if it's still a thing, drinking beer for 7 minutes out of every hour you're on a shift of working in a beer company. Drop the comment. Arnold Carlson became a new owner of this place in 1979 after trying out few tenants. One of them was a trucking company, one of them was a broom producing factory. After trials and tribulations, this place became what it is. It became an arts colony where artists of every possible avenue of art imaginable could find place and do their work. I'm interested in this place as one of the first examples of adaptive reuse here in Los Angeles. Artist in Residence Ordinance, which was passed in 1982, was one of the precursors of adaptive reuse ordinance, which came almost 20 years later in 1999. But this is where it started. This is one of those places that was somewhat experimental on converting those buildings that were unoccupied, that were unused, that were almost lost to the times, and bringing them back as something completely different. It's interesting that in 1997, the article that got published in Los Angeles Times named this place as one of the biggest artist communities in the world, 16 acres and 300 residences. I'm not sure if it's necessarily true. There is a community called Freetown Christiania in Copenhagen. That community was a military base, a Danish military base, which was abandoned. So artists just came in and they took over. It's sort of a free-spirited zone, the center of Copenhagen. It's incredible. It's similar to this. It reminded me of this place. But over there, the story kind of goes even more interesting and illegal than it did over here. That territory was basically taken over by artists. Government decided not to evict those people simply because it's a bad press to kick out artists that are in the area seeking refuge, where the area was virtually dilapidated and neglected and not used by anybody. But I digress. The reason I'm bringing it up is because that happened in 1971, and that community is about 85 acres. So, not sure if Brewery Artist Lofts is the biggest art-oriented community in the world, but it's huge. And one of the interesting things that is not in the arts colony, but right next to it, is this incredible Michael Rotondi's house. Just look at that. You would never believe that it's a house, however it is. I mean, it's been used in many different ways, other than the house as well, but that's an incredible structure, which actually was sold not that long ago. Thank you guys for coming on another journey with me. This one was somewhat experimental. It is an adaptive reuse. It's not the condominiums that I usually concentrate on, but it's one of the precursors of adaptive reuse ordinance here in the city of Los Angeles. So this building and this community definitely deserves mentioning. With that said, thank you so much guys for following my journey in this adaptive reuse discovery. If you haven't done that already, more videos are coming, so please subscribe to the channel, give me a like, and share this video with people that love the history of Los Angeles and its architecture just as much as I do. See you and the future episodes very, very soon. Ciao.